Greetings, everyone. Brett here with Hammerhead Model Making, back with another 5-minute review. And I would like to give a huge thanks to MRS Hobby Shop for sending me this review copy. And I am going to be perfectly upfront with you. I was really looking forward to reviewing this kit. This one had been on my radar for a little while. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little disappointed with this kit. And I'll explain why. So, right off the bat, we're going to take a look at the exterior surface. And you'll see that the ram tape areas are a little overpronounced. Now, that's something I can definitely live with. That's not a deal breaker for me. I mean, and aside from that, the actual detail itself is really nice and crisp. Panel lines are, appropriate depth. Rivet detail looks really nice. So it looks nice from the exterior. You got good, nice strengthening ridges along the inside there. Same thing with the underside. You do get nice surface detail, if somewhat overpronounced, with the ram tape area. But again, it looks pretty good, really crisp, and some sharp detail. But it's when you start getting the inside stuff where a few issues arise. So here we have a look. So these are supposed to be the turbines, the afterburner turbines at the back end of the engine. They look like compressor blades to me, but I'm not an engine expert. You do get these weird ejector pin marks on the inside of the intakes. You do get full length intakes as well as full length exhaust area. So not terrible. Cockpit detail appears to be adequate. You do get a multi-part ejection seat. No harnesses or anything, no photo etch, but that's easy enough to add. Some fairly decent detail to the interior parts for the wheel wells and whatnot. Here's the picture of here's the instrument panel. Again, it's not bad. It looks pretty good. At least the detail's crisp. You get this great detail here. I believe these parts are for the wheel wells. Lots of cables, junction boxes, things like that. You get this sprue of weapons, and I think the only weapons that you would end up using on the F-22 are the AIM-9s. Everything else, I think, is just extra. So it appears like they just threw in a random weapon sprue that included some sidewinders. So interesting. And then you do get another matched pair of weapon sprues that come with JDAMs and all of your Sparrows. So those ones you will definitely be using. But it's interesting that they threw an entire frame just for a couple of sidewinders. But hey, that's up to them. Here you get the actual compressor blades, the first stage compressors, wheels. Again, it's all adequate detail, but nothing jumps out as out of the ordinary in terms of how it looks. Here's the cockpit. The cockpit looks pretty decent, actually. I can't tell how accurate it is, but as far as the technicality, it looks pretty nice. But here's one of the major first issues: massive sink marks on the insides of the intakes, and it's on both intakes as well. So that would definitely need to be taken care of before, it's pretty bad. This is the underside of the nose. Again, looks pretty nice. I have no complaints there. Zero detail on the inside of the engine exhaust, none, and almost zero detail on the inside of the weapons bay. Now, and that was my biggest disappointment. If you look at pictures of the weapons bay on an F-22, it is packed full of wires and cables and hoses and pipes and all kinds of things in there. So that's kind of disappointing. Here are the decals. I don't know if the cockpit is that colorful in real life. Maybe it is. I have no clue, but it just seems like they just threw in color just for the heck of it. The rest of the decals look nice. Clear part, very clear, very crystal clear, very little distortion. Feels a little overly thick, but I'm not going to complain as long as you can see through it without too much problem. You do get formation lights as well as heads-up display and landing lights, all in clear parts, so not bad. And again, that's pretty clear. You do get multiple marking options and a nice full color guide for color placement and decal placement. They give shout out in multiple different paint brands, so that's pretty nice. Pretty standard F-22 color scheme here. Nothing that's extraordinary, but pretty standard. And you get weapons color callouts. Flipping through the instructions, laid out pretty straightforward. As you look through the instructions, you realize that this is actually a really simple kit. There's not a lot of parts to it, and I think that's kind of where a little bit of my disappointment with this kit comes through, is because for the cost that you're paying for this kit, we're talking over $100. You're just not getting very much out of it, and I know that's not necessarily fair to compare to the Tamiya F-35 series. But I mean, price wise, they're very comparable, and this is just really lacking in overall, you know, quality and detail. And I know that they can do the detail because if you look at some of the wheel well parts, they're very well detailed. Lots of cables, lots of junction boxes, things like that. So we know that they are capable of it. Like here, you can see some great detail there. But for whatever reason, they chose to make the weapons base super simplified. So to borrow an expression from Phil Flory, this would make a good curbside model, but I wouldn't necessarily have all the weapons bays opened up on this unless you want to really do super detail. So anyways, huge shout out to my patrons. Big shout out to MRS Hobby Shop. You can get this kit and many others like it through their online store at mrshobby.com. I would recommend checking them out, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.